Okay, we are live. Welcome to Essential Oils for In-Home Health. I am your host, Andrea Warren. If this is your first time here on the Well World TV platform, welcome. You are in for a treat today. I have brought an amazing guest who is going to be talking to us today about plant-based lifestyle. His name is Desmond Harris. I know Desmond. I have to be completely transparent here. He is amazing. He's a certified personal trainer, certified nutritionist, certified health coach. I don't think there's anything this man doesn't do. Certified life coach. I think I've gotten it all in there, but he is an amazing young man, extremely gifted, talented in the work that he does, and I'm excited to have him here with me today. So welcome, Desmond. Welcome here.
Thanks, Andrea. I'm happy to be here. That was a great intro. Wow.
Hey, yeah. I told him he just looks so professional with that scene behind him. I feel like I needed to give him a huge intro just to sort of tap into how incredible he is. And I'm not, he is. I have to say I've been following his work for a while. I'm on a few of his Facebook groups, and I'm always just so impressed with how he shares the plant-based lifestyle and how he brings it out in a very easy to follow way as somebody who's new to the plant-based lifestyle. So I'm excited to dive in, ask some really tough questions because I'm not going to be easy on them. That's for sure. So you ready?
Okay. I think I'm ready. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to get myself prepared. Okay. So I'm going to start easy, actually. What is it that actually brought you to wanting to live a plant-based lifestyle?
It was a bunch of things. It was a multitude of things. And it started off with just eating clean.
Okay.
That was it. I wanted to eat clean. I was coming from, well, I kind of got to tell you about my history. Standard American diet. I've always been athletic, so I'm always working out. And the thing about guys and gals who train a lot, sometimes we don't eat that well, right? We kind of play this balancing of the scale where our fitness activity and our nutrition activity, we work a lot and we stay active, but we may not eat as well. So I was doing that for like years. And then I don't know what happened. Somewhere along the way, I got something in my ear about additives inside of food, right? And I started learning about chemicals inside of food. And I was like, oh, that's gross. That's nasty. Let me just try eating differently, right? Let me try eating more home-cooked meals. Let me pay attention to where my meat's coming from. And then once I started going down that rabbit hole, that took me down the pathway of, learning about farming, agriculture, animal farming. And then I started thinking about, how I can get more nutrition. And I started learning about there's a lot of nutrition in plants. I need to have more greens and vegetables and beans and things like that. And then, for a while I started experimenting with different types of diets, Mediterranean diet, pescatarian. I would have meat-free Mondays and just try it out. And then somewhere along the line, about 3 years ago, I just kind of went full in. I was like, I really don't need meat anymore because I've tried all these different things and I feel great. I feel cleaner from eating more of a plant-based lifestyle. And so it was about 3 years ago I've been fully plant-based, but it really did start with just wanting to just eat clean and just feel better.
Well, that's a reason why many of us. Are you having some back volume stuff happening on your end? I'm going to turn mine in. There we go.
All right. Should I turn my volume down a little bit?
Yeah, just a tad. I had like a woof. I don't know if it might just be on my end, so I actually fixed it.
Could be my cricket table here too.
Okay, so first reason was eating clean. Okay, so and that makes sense, right? Because so many people are into health and wellness, and like you said, are they eating right? Are they eating clean food? And I like how you talked about that, and you sort of touched on it, but that idea of factory farming, I don't think people realize what an effect that has on the food that they're eating and what's being brought on their plate. But I have to say too, but there are a lot of misconceptions about individuals that do plant-based lifestyle. And I thought maybe I'd ask you a few
Oh
so
yeah.
you could just myth bust the hell out of them.
Yeah, there's so
So-
many. Oh my gosh. All right, bring
All
it
right,
to me.
you
Let me
ready?
hear
Are
this.
you ready? All right.
Yeah, give me the heat. Okay.
All right, bring it. Okay, so my first question is, how am I going to get enough protein if I'm eating plants?
Oh my gosh, protein. What are you gonna do? You're gonna turn into a frail little string bean. You're gonna lose all your gains in the gym if
Yeah,
you don't
that's
have
it.
protein.
I'm
Yeah,
going to be
that's
a
what a lot of
waif.
people think. I know. It is so crazy, and it's almost funny now because like the information's out there, and I just came to this realization. I think where the misconception started, and I could be wrong, so I don't want to put blame in the wrong place, but I think it really did start with like some fitness influencers that
Sure.
started taking the daily recommendation of protein and they started doubling it and like making it this really high number. But if you look in a lot of the literature, from what I've seen, that the daily recommendation is about zero point 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So
That's not that much.
that's not a lot, right? And that's like the minimum, right? So you
Right.
figure at the minimum, if you're let's just say if you're about a 180-pound man, you're probably going to need anywhere between 60, 70, 80 grams of protein a day. And you can do that. I think a lot of people, they started thinking it was 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. And that's a much bigger number. So I think that's why people were thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't get that from beans and legumes. There's no way I can get 130 grams a day. Well, you can, but you really don't need that much. And here's the thing. Everything in the plant kingdom, it's going to have a mix of all of the macronutrients, So if you eat a balanced plate, you're going to get protein here and there from the rice, from the grains, from the broccoli, from the, leafy vegetables, from the sprouts, if you're eating a balanced diet. And throughout the day, you're going to hit your protein marks. There's never been a time where someone fell ill in the US from protein deficiency. It's like, it's a thing that doesn't really exist. Yeah. And for people who are wondering, there are great athletes out there who really do well in their fields. They dominate in the plant-based, plant-based endurance athletes, plant-based heavy strength lifters. So it's a big misconception. It is. I just tell people, just look at the daily recommendation, see where that's at, and then just look at your plate and see if you're getting in that range before we get all scared of the protein myth, like, oh my gosh.
Okay, so here's the next question. I'm somebody who likes to work out, and let's just say I'm a 23-year-old, male or female, and I'm looking to get some lean muscle. Like summertime's coming. How am I going to look chiseled and have that, balanced mass by eating plants? I mean, can that really build mass and muscle?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All day. You need a little bit of, I would say, just focus on the plants that are higher in protein content. So those are typically like the beans and legumes, maybe some tofu if you like tofu, rice grains, quinoa. I know you like tofu. Not everybody's a tofu fan. It's a texture thing. I get it. And it's like slightly minimally processed. You get that, things like Brussels sprouts, broccoli have a little bit of protein there too. So you can do it. You can absolutely do it. And like, have you seen the film Game Changers?
Of course.
Okay, so if you remember in one of their cuts, they were talking about how to get enough protein from a peanut butter sandwich. And he broke it down, and it was a really great point. He took 2 slices of whole grain bread, which average about 6 grams of protein a slice, so that's 12 grams right there. And you got about I think it was 2 or 3 tablespoons of peanut butter, which came out to like another 12 or so grams of protein. So one peanut butter sandwich is like 20, 22 grams of protein, right? Average person in your day, you need about anywhere from 60 to 80 grams. So if you had 3 peanut butter sandwiches, you'd be all right.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah,
we're going to change something up. I think I know what the problem is.
Well, I think I lost your audio.
We are back. Sorry about
that.
My computer and I are having a love-hate relationship right now. And let's say it's more towards the hate than the love. So we're going to go back. So exactly. So I can gain mass. I can get healthy. I can get enough nutrients. I can get enough protein. But am I
Yeah.
going to have the energy to
Can
get
I
the
say
protein
something
and
about the
plants?
mass thing?
Sure.
So I think mass comes down to like how you're going to train too.
Right. That is an
You
important
know,
piece.
yeah. There's a thing called I hope I'm pronouncing it right. It's like hypertrophy training. Basically, you're adding load. Like that's what's good about weight training. And your trainer probably tells you this, Andrea. I hope she does.
Yes,
Uh,
of course she does. I'm losing everything today. This is just going to be one of those shows. Yes, she does. And to be honest with you, she was anti plant based when I started with her. And I'm going to be completely honest. She
yeah.
was one of those people. And when she started seeing the change, and as me being somebody who was older too, she figured I was going to have to eat the proteins from chicken and fish and beef. And she was like, I don't know how you're going to sustain this and have energy and all of those things as a person over 45 and eating just plant-based. But I have to tell you, she was shocked at, and I was even shocked at the fact that the energy I had was ridiculous. I mean, it was way more than I had ever gotten
Yeah.
from, that American standard diet, which to me, when I look at it now,
Yeah.
it's sort of terrifying.
I know. It kind of is terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah,
And that's what I was
yeah.
eating for like a long time, years. So
Well, and let's talk a little bit about that because I think a lot of people, when they see that, and you and I have had those conversations too about where that American standard diet came from and how much of it is driven by, and I'm going to pull into the little bit of that political aspect
hmm
of,
hmm
corporations and agriculture and sort of where the money is being driven. It's not being driven towards the guy who's growing grass fed, even the grass fed beef industry. It's not even drawn there. It's more to what we talked about, that factory farming. And how do you see that in your, especially your personal training and your health coaching? Do you run up against that sort of, hey, this is what they're telling me to eat, and why are you telling me differently?
Yeah, yeah, I do. And it's a big topic and it is kind of political, I guess, because you got these big companies and
Right.
I guess what I tell my clients is a lot of what we are taught about nutrition has been kind of trickled down over the years, and a lot of what we see on through media or newspapers or magazines, commercials, it's a lot of where a lot of the average people just get their nutritional advice from,
Right.
because say if you're the average American, you're going to have your television on and you're going to get hit with these messages of come down to so and so. We have a new meat pork sandwich. Great stuff. You're gonna have this, 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 and you're thinking, oh, this is fantastic. I'm gonna go feed my family. We don't really get enough of the really hardy nutritional information that's how to have a well balanced plate and talking about vitamins and minerals. So, yeah, I think that definitely there is an influence when it comes to the bigger companies and how we think about food. A lot of the things I do with my clients is just tell them just relearning. Like we're going to relearn
Right.
things, kind of go back to the basics. What's a carbohydrate? How does it operate in the body? And then you can kind of just make your own assertions from a fundamental lele. But I mean, yeah, you're right. It's crazy. It's crazy the stuff that you turn on the television now, and it's just so one balance. And I was telling
Oh
you
yeah.
before, like a little for everyone listening, do this little case study for yourself, and just to bring awareness when you're watching television, how many commercials are about food, and then how many of those food commercials are revolved around a dairy or meat product. And it's like 90%. It's like all of them. It's crazy. There's not much about, oh, get your peppers and your Brussels sprouts, and I think part of it is because maybe there's just not money there for those companies, right?
Yeah, I think that's a big piece of it. And that I want to dovetail off of that because that is another, I think, myth, and I'd love for you to bust that, is eating this way is expensive. Eating plant-based, eating
It's
clean,
so cheap.
bust that myth for me.
Oh man, it's so affordable. I think you said the other day with tofu, two big blocks of tofu.
Oh yeah, and organic tofu, not just tofu, but like
Yeah.
organic. And I have to chime in here though, because I'm a little miffed with the tofu. Like, I know it's somewhat processed,
Yeah.
But I have to say that if you're somebody who's newer, people don't realize like tofu is so. I like the fact that you can use flavoring like garlic and coconut aminos to flavor the tofu. So if you're still in that, or a lot of people are, I think, newer, and again, I know that a lot of people try to stay away from soy too, right? But you can make that tofu, and I know you could probably do it with portobello mushrooms too, but make it have that quote unquote meat consistency so that you're not feeling like your mind isn't feeling like, hey, you're cheating me from the
Yeah.
meat.
Oh yeah, so so to get that texture, so you don't feel like you're missing out. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what's neat about tofu. It soaks up everything. Just talking about it, I'm getting hungry right now. Just talking about
So
this
tell
stuff.
us like what a basic, like we're like we said, we're talking about that people sort of believe it's too expensive, it's hard to do. If I was going to say, because I know you share so many amazing recipes on your Facebook group and even on your personal page, but if you were going to share like your go-to meal for somebody who's new to plant-based living, a meal that maybe is easy to do, and affordable, what would be something that you would maybe steer them to where they can kind of hit that protein number, that micronutrient number? What would be your call?
I would probably say go with a stir fry. I love a good stir fry, and I mean, you can make it in a way that's healthy because obviously having too much oil is not good either.
Right.
But let's just take it. You have a good healthy grain. You can either do wild rice or brown rice, or maybe a rice and quinoa mix.
Ooh,
Yeah, so that's
I
good.
like
Yeah, it's a
that.
whole grain, so you got some fiber in there, and quinoa to add a little bit of protein. And then you can like the stir fry is nice because you can just mix it up. You can just throw in peppers, right? You can throw in some onion, which is amazing. Onion's so great. You can throw in some mushrooms, and then on the side, you can have your legumes, like you can have some lentils or something to have with the stir fry too. Or you can make the stir fry with tofu in there and then add your favorite little teriyaki sauce. There's plenty of ways to mix it up. And, the cruciferous vegetables, I always try to add that into every dish, some kind of broccoli or Brussels sprouts or any kind of sprout. Um, Asparagus, just add in different things. I think a stir fry is probably the best and the cheapest way because you can make a really big portion of it and then save it for later.
Yeah, and that's what's great too about stuff like that, because I think when you start these new lifestyles, sort of that idea of food prep, and I found that, especially in a plant-based, that I was never a huge fan of leftovers. That was a big thing. My family used to chastise me, like, you never eat but I don't
Yeah,
mind like something like a stir fry. I love that I have a wok. I think that is some of the best way to cook, even though I try to keep the oils down, like you said. But that's a great way to reheat those stir fries, and again, it's a lot more healthy, and it's easy to meal prep. You just put it in there, save it for the next day. But
yeah.
going to that as well, though, what do you do when you're talking about people and kids? And I am gonna that's probably just threw you for a loop. But
Yeah,
I
you
know a
did.
lot of parents. I knew I'd get you. Okay, I was trying really hard, guys, to like trip him up. But I mean, for me, I was very lucky. Both my kids are plant based and found it very easy. They're huge vegetable eaters. But are there some plants, some vegetables that you would maybe say to a parent, hey, this may use these two in a large amount and maybe steer further away from the protein?
Yeah, kids are tough. Kids are tough. I feel like every kid in America likes like their chicken nuggets with mashed potatoes, right? Or something like
Right,
that.
of course.
So it's like, how the heck do you get them to eat more plant-based? Well, just follow the flavors. That's what my parents did. Like, you can make a good dish. And, actually, on that topic of like meats and stuff, there's a lot of good mock meats out there. And I think that's where people get the idea that it's expensive to go plant-based because they're thinking they need to have all of these plant-based meats now, which there can be a little pricey, but you don't have to have them. I would say just have them here and there.
Right.
Don't make them a huge staple in your diet because it is expensive, but you can have them here and there. And those would be a great thing to introduce to kids to kind of get them away from thinking they need chicken all the time. Is some of that stuff's really good. Like I had one the other week. It was like these chicken tenders that were made from like I think it was like some bean isolate or something like that. It was good. You know,
Yeah, no,
you
I
wouldn't
think
know the difference
I've
in the
had
texture.
the, it sounds nasty, but my daughter did the Gardein. They had
I think that was
the
the brand. Yeah,
fish.
not bad.
Never in a million years would I have thought like filet fish that's plant-based. And I was like, man, it is really good. Now, again, you have to watch what's in those food items to make sure that they're not, a lot of different additives or anything like that. But I noticed that brand seems to be a little bit cleaner than others because I'm sure that's the other thing. And I know it's not, I don't know if it's a myth or not, but I do notice, and I think this is something that there are a lot of people that are plant based. And I saw a meme the other day and it cracked me up and it said, well, Oreos are plant based. So there's a lot
Yeah,
of people that are saying they're plant based that aren't looking the healthiest as in they put on weight. So sort of steer us down that lane, like just because it's plant-based doesn't always mean it's healthy.
that is true. Because French fries are plant based too,
Right.
and so is beer.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think it's just getting back to whole food, and that's the wave. Just get back to whole food and make sure you're getting those vitamins and minerals, fiber, and that's how to get back to a balanced diet. Really,
It's
that's
that
it.
simple. It really is
Yeah,
that simple.
that's it. That's
So
it.
I've got a question for you, and it's going to be another one that I think a lot of people, when they think about plant-based, we've sort of used that word this entire time because Desmond and
I
I
like this.
talked the
I
other
like
day, and
plant based and plant
yeah,
rich. I don't
yeah,
know. I'm starting to like plant
sort of in
rich
the
diet
middle.
because I think it just sinks in better for people. I'm like, oh, yeah.
But I have to ask the question because it's always out there and I've seen it and I know you and I have talked about it. You know, are you an angry vegan or do you see a place for meat? Because I was going to ask it.
I know. And that's why I dropped the term vegan because guess what? I was the angry vegan. I was there when I first started. I said, "This is terrible. You guys are all crazy." Um, but as you like, just level out, you realize that there's an approach to everything.
Right.
Um, and I have a bone to pick with some angry vegans because we got to draw a line. We have to have morals. We have to have compassion and understanding that hey, I wasn't born perfect. Nobody was. And I think the most important thing is for us to get to a balance, right? I think it's important to just get to a balance because I think that's where the whole vegan movement started is because we had such a imbalance with the factory farming and
Right.
all the slaughtering going on. And you think about like all the unhealthy eating habits that so many Americans have, like standard American diet. It's low in fiber, it's high in processed meats. It's high in processed carbohydrates and sweeteners, right? So like that imbalance, we're trying to get back to it. That's what's most important. I don't think you have to be an angry vegan, vilify everybody because I got plenty of friends who still enjoy the meat and I still hang out with them. My family members, they still enjoy, salmon here and there, and I get it. But it's like, all right, what's the best path we can take? I think it's just balancing scales. Balancing the scales. Yeah, because there are a lot of angry vegans. Sorry for those of you who have been attacked. I'm not that guy. Yeah,
I
yeah.
had to
So
ask because I mean, and I see it a lot. And I think that's sort of been some of the people that I've talked to about bringing that into their lives. Oh, you're going to be one of those. I mean, that's the first sort of that stigma of, oh, you're one of those. And so I'm glad
I know
that,
it's terrible though, because then people they don't even want to be a part of it, and they totally miss the point.
right,
Like the whole point
right,
is like that's to get you to eat healthier for your body and for the environment. Like kind of raise your level of awareness and see like there is a connection between what goes on our plate because someone had to raise these animals somewhere that take up some land, use some resources, and bring it to your plate. There's got to be that connection, and I want to foster that connection with our
right.
food and our bodies for people. And you kind of lose that when you're just an angry, protesting, you know, bashing vegan. People are just like, I don't want anything to do with that over there.
Right. Yeah. And I
Uh,
think that that's a point that, like you said, balance is the key. And, a lot of what we talk about here on essential oils for in home health, hence the beginning of
Yes.
the, is essential oils. And I know that you're an essential oil guy. So let me know, like, I see that. How did bringing essential oils sort of up level your fitness, your recovery, just your overall health?
Oh my gosh. All right, Andrea, I actually have this update for you because you are like my go-to. You're like my essential oil genius. All right,
Thank
so I
you.
always knew peppermint was great, and I talk about peppermint all the time. I should talk about different oil. I will, but let me just hold on to peppermint. So I saw you made a post in your group about it and how it helps your performance, and you shared this article of the research study, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. So yeah, over the past 2 weeks, I've been using it. I've been working out, doing these live videos in my gym for quarantine, and every single day I've been taking my peppermint before or after, right? Just 3 inhales. That's it. Get into my workout. Now, over the past week, I have been feeling incredible. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm on a rocket ship, and my cardio is just really good. Like I ran a half marathon the other day. I have a lot of energy, and I really have to chop it up to the peppermint because I've been using it on a daily basis. So like
Love
two or
that.
three times a day, I'm putting that peppermint in, I'm inhaling it. It's amazing. I don't know what else to say. It works. Now, so I use that around my workouts. Post workout, I try to use some things that help my body kind of just calm down and restore. So lavender is great. Copaiba is also great to help support the nervous system, and that's a good one that just blends with everything. I was looking into Roman. No, what is it? Yeah, I think it's Roman chamomile. Is actually really great for your muscles to relax too. So I've
Yeah.
been using that, and that just smells amazing. What else has there been? Wintergreen, actually. We use wintergreen after my
Yes.
long training. So if I'm sore, wintergreen actually helps with recovery too. Um, I think I read somewhere, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it helps with something with pain receptors.
Yes.
So yeah, I use wintergreen in the shower afterwards. I'll just rub it on my knees and my joints. It's really good. Let's see, what else do I use around my workouts and fitness? I mean, I guess I'll stick with those ones right there. They're all, yeah, I use a lot of them.
So every aspect of your fitness that you're talking about is plant-based. Even your recovery, your working out,
Oh yeah,
with using the essential oils. So that's incredible, and that goes to show, just like you said, Desmond, before this all happened, I'm going to tell a little bit about you, that he was training for the New York City Marathon. So this is a guy who is crazy
hopefully,
fit.
hopefully it's still gonna happen this year. Hopefully,
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. But
yeah.
I am crazy, um, about oils myself. But it's great to see somebody who's in your world who is sharing their abilities, their benefits. And copaiba is another one that a lot of people don't talk about. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's
Mhm.
another essential oil that has been used as, Native Americans, if you go back into their history, they used it for you name it. And it's a lot of it is because of its ability to support the body's inability to cause, that inflammation, that aspect of what causes, as we both know in the businesses we're in, what makes most of us sick. So
Yeah,
to be able to have something that you can apply that's plant-based, not synthetic, 100% pure to
it's
your
so good.
body.
It's so
I
good. It's
mean,
just like your body knows what to do with it, and like I wouldn't be this fired. I mean, I always am fired up about it, but I really am now because I think it's because of that peppermint thing, and I'm starting to realize like there's just nothing. I'm not using anything that's toxic, right? It's all natural.
right.
These are all plant derivatives. So your body just feels, you just feel great. And you wake up every day and you feel great. I can remember back when in my old training, when I was the typical bro science lifter, heavy lifter, I was downing like whey protein, downing all these BCAs and these pre-workouts and very like super duper stimulated to get my and just go in and crush my workouts. Like, you don't really need to be on that path. There's a lot of waste product in that, and taking this route, I find I just feel much more balanced. Like I'm able to peak out and level down. I'm able to go hard. I'm able to recover, and I think I really got to chop it up to just having natural products around me. It really makes a huge difference.
I was going to ask you because we talked about that last week on the show. When you talk to your fitness clients and I know you work with a lot of people that are, struggling with weight. Do you share that aspect on how that really can up level that for them, that weight loss by just removing all the toxins and those endocrine disruptors? Do you find that people are receptive to that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I try to drip on my clients and teach them. I tell them about you, and I tell them to watch your talks. But yeah, people are becoming more receptive. We're starting to get it, especially now with the pandemic going on and people, paying attention to like, all right, what is an immune response? How strong should my immune system be? What am I using that's compromising my immune system? So it's kind of a
Right.
blessing in disguise with all this stuff going on right now. People are starting to raise their awareness of like what is on their health radar, and yeah, people are starting to get it. So
Okay, so I see a question from
okay.
Lisa, and she said, which I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask you. It says, "Do you drink peppermint water too?"
I do. I had some last night actually, Lisa. It was good.
Yeah, and
Yep.
that's great for recovery. A lot of people don't even realize that. So if you're after a workout, having that peppermint water is awesome for recovery and what it does to kind of push recovery to a little bit faster than what you're used to. So if you want to drink the peppermint before and after, it's great for that. So I would
Yeah.
definitely highly recommend it. And I know my husband actually brought that into his workout routine, and he couldn't believe the difference. It's going into Gold's Gym, all the guys there, you're probably like, hey, I've got my essential oils.
Hmm. I do. I keep it in my pocket and I whip it out. I'm like,
Look out. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's good. I'm
Well,
starting
let
to do
me
that with
just
my in-person clients too. Actually, I had a quick question for you. I know we're
sure,
about to come up on time because
sure,
when I do my long runs, I have this like water pack I carry with me. It's just like I
sure.
wear it and I just, so I have to worry about a water bottle. Now, I've been wanting to put like peppermint in there, except the pack's made of like plastic.
Plastic.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's probably not a good idea, right?
It probably isn't. I don't know how quickly you go through the water. The thought is that essential oils can break down plastics, and I
Yeah.
totally get that. If it's a BPA free, I would probably feel a little bit better about putting an essential oil in something like that. Because a lot of essential oil products are put in plastic containers, and I would hope they are BPA free. So maybe if you try it, just know that you won't be able to put anything else in there afterward, because that's the other thing. If you're using something like that, it tends
Yeah.
to
I probably
sort
won't
of
risk it. I'll just stick with my whip.
yeah,
Good.
just do that, or just take a shot. I always tell people that just take a distilled water in a little shot glass, put a drop or two in there, and then go. So that's a really simple way to incorporate it into your pre-workout. So we're gonna really quickly ask if anybody has any questions for Desmond. I know he is a wealth of information, so while you have him here, we've got a few more minutes to throw those questions in. And while we're waiting for those, Desmond, why don't you tell everybody where to find you?
I just looked
And
at the chat. I can actually see everything. Oh my gosh.
he's amazed. He's now figuring out how the StreamYard platform works.
Uh,
It's the
Okay.
clarity. It must be the oils behind you that just opened the mind.
Yes.
So let
um,
everybody know where to find you, kind of about your Facebook groups and what you're doing, so that if they want to get in contact with you and learn. Leslie has a question, and I can answer it, but I like that you did this about water, because I don't think a lot of people realize the importance of clean water when it comes to their fitness. And I actually referenced you the other day about that website. So
yeah.
drop some wisdom about water.
You're gonna get me going for another 20
I
minutes
know.
here. All
Well,
right.
hey, hopefully we won't get in too much trouble for going over
Okay,
it.
I'll be quick. So
Okay.
I'll leave it in the thing after the video, but what everyone should do is go to a website. There's an organization that's called EWG.org, and what they do is they go around to like I think it's around the country. They go to all the different water municipalities, and they test the water and they put the information out. So what I would say is go to WEG.org or EWG.org
EWG.
slash
Yeah.
tap water. Check your area code, see what has been tested in your area, and find out what kind of contaminants are in your water. Because actually,
Here, I
Andrea, when
can
I started
find.
my journey towards eating better, clean, it started out with me learning about water, and then it led to me learning about food contaminants. So water was really where I started my whole journey.
Well, and the
And
fact that when people ask about distilled water, why we want you to be using clean water, for one, you're ingesting it. So the water needs to be clean. If you're trying to get the benefits of an essential oil or something like, I know you use a lot of products like amino wise and electrolytes. If you're trying to put clean into your body, putting tap water or not clean water sort of defeats that purpose. So having that, it's extremely important to use clean water. So, just understand that is the main reason why clean water is so important. Because if you took your glass of tap water, and I'm sure some of us can, put it up to the light, and you'd be surprised at all the little friends that you can just see with the naked eye that are floating. Let's see.
yeah,
Winnie had a question. What if ingesting oil feels too hot in the throat? What to do? Don't do it. I mean, there are some things, and I always say to people, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's the right thing for you, or your body may just have an aversion to that. So if something is causing an irritation, my first response to somebody is just don't do it. A lot of people will put essential oils in vegetable gel caps. If that is an easier way to do ingesting of essential oils, I would say that would be my call. If you're putting it in water and it's causing irritation. So that would be my suggestion for you. But again, if something immediately is causing a problem, stop doing it, and then, move over to that gel cap. And that would be my suggestion for you, Winnie. Okay, so any more questions? Desmond's going to drop all of his information once this live broadcast is over.
yeah, you guys can.
Go ahead.
You guys can follow me. I have a Facebook group. It's called Facebook group Drive Your Drive Your Health Community. I have a website called driveyourhealth.com, and you guys can follow me on Facebook as well. And I'll drop the link for the water thing too.
Yeah. Oh, and Vanessa dropped in. Home Depot offers little kits. You can put the water in the little cylinder and send it off, and you will get a full report. I have seen
Yeah,
it.
can I
Vanessa,
say one more thing about water? I got to get it off my
Sure.
chest. I think this is what people should think about, right? Because you're supposed to have like half your body weight in ounces of water every single day. So if you have a trace in chemical, like any kind of heavy metal or any kind of additive in water, and you're drinking that every single day, your body doesn't really know what to do with that unnatural component or whatever that molecule is. So it's gonna just build up in your body. So your body's either gonna store it in fat, or who knows where it's gonna go. But overall, your body as a system, it's gonna start to bog it down. And that was the one thing I realized when I switched my water, is my skin was cleaner, my energy was better. And I think it's just over time, like you got to think about it over years. Like, do you really want to have bad water for years? Because your body has to filter that stuff itself. It's gonna be more work for your liver or more work for something else. So why not just invest in a device that can help you and just clean it up a little bit more. That's all.
Hold on. One more question from Winnie. What would you drink afterwards to relieve the hotness? Cold water. Or that would probably be the best way because you've already ingested it. I'm not sure what you're ingesting that's causing the hotness, but I would just say if it's peppermint, just use cool water or room temperature water. Do not use hot water. That's a big misconception. I have people say, "Oh, I was using something and I got it in my eyes or near my eyes. I used hot water." That's just going to exacerbate it and open up the pores and make it a heck of a lot worse. Yeah. So it is extremely important. And
Susan just commented, yeah, we do have a friend, Colleen's doing a talk today about toxins too. So I can drop that in there.
If drop that link in as well. That's great. Thanks, Susan, for that. Yeah, and there is a countertop distiller. Vanessa put that in. There are super easy ways because I'm all about the environmental aspect as well when we're talking water. So staying away from plastic bottles and using, I have a reverse osmosis filtration. I have one in my kitchen and then one throughout my house. The one in my kitchen, was super affordable. Things like Lowe's, Home Depot carry those. They're a few $100. Maybe the biggest expense is the filters, and you only have to change those once a year. So, but again, we're going to wrap it up because this was so much fun. And I'm going to have Desmond back because we're going to dive more into plant-based. Maybe I can get him to be in his kitchen and share one of his fabulous smoothies, because I have to say they are ridiculously good. And he uses all sorts of vegetables, which I'm always like, I'm a fruit gal when it comes to my smoothie. I know. So maybe you could shift me over to more vegetables in my smoothie. So thanks again, Desmond, for joining us today. And thank you all for being here. And we'll drop those links in for you. Take care, everybody.
All right, bye, guys.